I might caution you gentlemen to regard our expansion team as just that, an expansion team. We're going to do the very, very best we can in the obtaining of ball players for the franchise. We cannot flatly come out and say or even think that we're going to have a contender for first place next year. It's a little too difficult to reach for. But in the ensuing years, we're sure that's going to happen. We ask you to bear with us during our period of trial and gluing a team together that'll be truly representative of Seattle and the NBA, and we in turn will do the same for you, the media, and for the population of Seattle.
And so the Seattle SuperSonics set out to build a team for their inaugural season. Seattle Pacific College was the site of the first Sonics rookie camp. A small crowd was on hand to watch an enthusiastic group of players showing their best moves, all under the watchful eye of Sonics head coach Al Bianchi. Seattle made its regular season NBA debut with a road loss at San Francisco. On October 20th, the Sonics made their home debut at the Seattle Coliseum against the San Diego Rockets. Walt Hazard led the Sonics in scoring with 32 points. Rod Thorne got inside the Rockets' defense for some easy buckets, and Bob Rule pulled down a team-high 11 rebounds. But San Diego came away with a 121-114 win. The Sonics picked up their very first win the following night in an overtime game at San Diego. Seattle was on a 4-game losing streak when they took on the Chicago Bulls at the Coliseum. Walt Hazard took control of the offense, and with the help of teammates Tommy Cron and Plummer Lott, Hazard poured in a game-high 34 points. Center Dory Murray grabbed a game-high 17 rebounds, and the Sonics came away with their first home court victory, 114-109 over the Bulls. Just 5 days prior to the start of the 1968 season, Seattle sent Walt Hazard to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for another veteran guard, Lenny Wilkens. For Wilkens and Seattle, it would be the beginning of a long relationship. Wilkens became the Sonics' second leading scorer behind Bob Rule in 1968, and Al Bianchi finished his second season as head coach with a 30-52 record. It would also be his final season with Seattle.
I think it's in the best interest of all. I think a change is necessary at this time, and I think someone with a new idea, a new philosophy on the coaching might get more out of the team than I have.
That someone was Lenny Wilkens. Wilkens would assume a dual role as player-coach for the Sonics. First order of business for the new coach would be to get some quality players that would have the Seattle SuperSonics ready to take on the upcoming new decade. In 1970, the Sonics found themselves playing ball with two kinds of courts when they signed Spencer Haywood out of the ABA. The Sonics fought the NBA and the ABA at the same time, spending almost as much time in court as on the court. Haywood saw limited playing time in the 1970-71 season as a result of injunctions, suits, and countersuits. His case went all the way to the Supreme Court, where it was finally settled in his and Seattle's favor. In addition to Haywood, Sonics coach Lenny Wilkens assembled a nice group of talent for the 1970-71 season. Pete Cross, Garfield Hurd, and Don Kogis joined veteran Sonics Dick Snyder, Rod Thorne, Barry Clemens, and Leapin' Lee Winfield on the Seattle roster. Kogis would also serve as an assistant coach for the team. In early 1971, Wilkens made his third NBA All-Star Game appearance as a Sonic. He scored 21 points to lead the West to a 108-107 win over the East and was named the game MVP. Seattle signed two players out of the 1971 draft, guard Fred Brown and center Jim McDaniels. Brown saw limited action in his first season coming off of the bench. It was a role at which he would later excel. McDaniels was playing in the ABA when the Sonics drafted him, and it took some more legal ball playing in the courts to make him an official Sonic. Meanwhile, Spencer Haywood continued to show Sonics fans that all the time and effort spent to obtain him was worthwhile. Haywood was the league's fourth leading scorer and the hub of the Sonics offense. In March of 1972, in a game against Atlanta, Haywood slipped on a wet spot on the Coliseum floor, suffering a knee injury that would sideline him for the remainder of the season. At the conclusion of the season, Tom Nisolke was named as the newest Sonics head coach, and Lenny Wilkens would once again be a player only. Seattle also dipped into the ABA to sign guard John Brisker, sending them back to the courts once again. In August of 1972, the Sonics made an announcement that would rock Seattle. Lenny Wilkens had been traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I really can't see myself in Cleveland. I've made my home out here, and I signed my contract thinking that I was going to be with the Seattle SuperSonics this year. And at this point, I can't see myself going to Cleveland, and I don't intend to.
The Sonics office was bombarded with calls from irate fans, and a petition was started to force the Sonics to return Wilkens from Cleveland. The 1972-73 season saw Spencer Haywood back at full strength, on his way to averaging better than 29 points a game. Fred Brown saw increased playing time in a brighter second season, and his scoring totals continued to rise. But Sonics fans couldn't wait for the night of November 12th. The Cleveland Cavaliers were in town, and so was Lenny Wilkens. A sellout turned out to welcome Wilkens back to Seattle. During the team introductions, Wilkens received a standing ovation to last a lifetime. Wilkens went on to lead Cleveland to a 113-107 win over Seattle, handing the Sonics their 7th straight loss. Spencer Haywood had been scoring in high numbers as the season went along. One night in the first week of January of 1973, Sonics fans were treated to a scoring masterpiece. Kansas City was the victim as Haywood ripped the nets for 51 points. He also pulled down a game-high 18 rebounds. While the Sonics excelled individually, the team suffered as a whole. Seattle had a dismal 19-41 record, and something had to be done. And so, Tom Nisolke was relieved of his coaching duties, and assistant coach Bucky Buckwalter would take over for the remainder of the season. But the Sonics were still in dire need of a jump start.
I'm not so sure we should go all the way this year because that would spoil you.
Seattle found the answer in the form of former Boston Celtics star Bill Russell. The man with the infectious laugh and winning background was signed to a 5-year contract. One of the things he promised to do in his first year was to get the Sonics their first playoff appearance. The Sonics entered the 1973-74 season with a lot of expectation and hope. They expected a great season with the hope it would get them into the playoffs. At the helm was the tallest coach in Sonics history. And there was a rookie guard who would soon make an impact in the league and with Sonic fans.
Looking to do a big kill, and Slick came up off the bench. Here comes Slick Watson. 118-96. Oh, this crowd is crazy. Slick Watts gets his hands on the ball, and they go nutty. Here's Watson, a change of base drive, shoots one of the base. I cannot believe that shot.
Spencer Haywood was the Sonics' leading rebounder as well as top scorer, but in a December game against the LA Lakers, center Jim Fox entered the Sonic record book when he hauled out a team record 30 rebounds.
Here is a standing ovation for Jim Fox on the new Sonic team rebound record.
Seattle hosted its first NBA All-Star game in January of 1974. Spencer Haywood scored 23 points in his home building, but Detroit's Bob Lanier captured the MVP honors. Fred Brown continued to grow and develop as a potent scoring force for the Sonics. The third-year guard had several games scoring in the high 30s, but on March 23, 1974, in a game at Golden State, Brown had one of the all-time greatest performances in Sonic history.
All right, time is in. Sonics Snyder will inbound. A tie ball game. It comes into Abdul Rahman. Down to 6 seconds. 5. Abdul looking for Brown. Brown wheels. He's got an 18-footer. It's goal! One time left. The Sonics win the ball game, and Fred Brown pumps one in from the corner. 58 points for Fred Brown, and what a night this has been. Tonight's final score, Seattle 139, the Warriors 137.
Brown's 58 points remains a Sonic high in scoring to this very day. The 1974 NBA draft brought center Tom Burleson to Seattle. At 7 feet 2 inches, Burleson at the time was the tallest player ever to wear a Sonic uniform. And the Sonics got a new team trainer in August of 1974 when Frank Furtado joined the ball club. The Sonics would be in good hands in the years to come. Rivalries with other teams often draw out the best from both basketball players and fans. And Seattle saw some great action in the 1974-75 season with their neighbors to the south.
Brown double teamed out on the right side. Still in the dribble on Petrie. Brown tries to go inside. Passes to Skinner in the corner. To Brisker, fadeaway 15 points. Walton has it at the high post. Turns, faces the basket. Burleson getting some help from Brown. Brown knocks the ball loose. Dive on the floor. Jump ball. Freddie Brown going off of his man to help knock the ball loose from Walton. It'll be Walton and John Brisker, I think. Freddie Brown being helped up by John. In this fourth quarter, the Sonics have had 3 turnovers, and the Blazers have now had 18. Ready to go. Here they go. Walton tips the ball. Walton steals it. Here goes Smith on a dribble drive. And pulls up. Follow through. Quick line. Sonics lead by 2.
Dave Cowens and his Boston Celtics were in town in February, and the game had one of the most amazing point swings in NBA history. Seattle trailed by 16 points early in the second quarter, but Tom Burleson led a charge that gave the Sonics the lead for good with over 5 minutes left in the first half. The Sonics went on to lead by as many as 34 points in the second half, representing a huge 50-point swing. Celtics coach Tom Heinsohn could not believe what he was seeing as the Sonics rolled on to a 121-95 win. Seattle needed one more win to clinch their first ever playoff spot when they met Portland in March.
Archie starts right, goes down the lane. Passes out on the corner. Haywood pumps one to the corner. 40 points in the ball game for Haywood. The Sonics lead by 6 at 40 seconds. The Blazers want timeout. The big cheer is as they're flashing up on the reader board. Playoff. They get the ball into Sidney Wick. He drives for the hoop and Burleson blocks his shot, and the game is over. The Sonics win.
Spencer Haywood scored 40 points to lead the Sonics into the playoffs. After 8 years in the NBA, Seattle had its first taste of playoff mania. The Detroit Pistons were the opponent in the Western Conference miniseries, but the Sonics had the home court advantage.
Inside it goes to Burleson for the dunk, and Lanier couldn't stop him. Made a nice reverse move off of the pass by Spencer Haywood. We're at the 2-minute mark in the ball game. The Sonic fans are getting antsy. Archie Clark overhead shot 2 at the foul line. And now the Sonic fans are getting ready to explode. 83-73, 10-point lead, 1:53 in the ball game. Long shot, Bing. Over the backboard, out of bounds. The Pistons behind. They're going to a quick outside shooting game, a low percentage shooting game. Burleson coming through to Clark, top of the key from Gray. Starts inside. Mengelt won't let him. The shooting clock down to 3. Haywood under pressure, shoots, misses. Gray gets it, lays it in. Will it count? It does. It goes and it counts. He got rid of the ball before the buzzer sounded. 85-75 Seattle. 44 seconds left in the game. Clark hooks the pass to Haywood. Haywood in under to Burleson. He has it done. And Tommy Burleson is showing Bob Lanier tonight a thing or two about playing center.
The Sonics won the first game 90-77, and they would take the Pistons 2-1 in the series. Golden State was the next opponent in the semifinals. The Warriors led the series 2-1 going into Game 4. It was a typical matchup between two hot teams with Tom Burleson and Fred Brown hitting from inside and out. The Sonics tied the series with a 111-94 win. They would drop the next 2 games to be eliminated. Golden State would go on to be the eventual NBA champion for 1975. Midway through the 1975 preseason, the Sonics traded Spencer Haywood to the New York Knicks for $2 million and a 1979 first-round pick. After some last goodbyes, it was time to move on. Bill Russell led his Sonics into the 1976-77 season with a couple of hot rookie prospects. Dennis Johnson and Bobby Wilkerson joined veteran guards Fred Brown and Slick Watts for the upcoming season. One of the two rookies would play just a single season with Seattle. It was not an extraordinary season for the Sonics. They finished with a 40-42 record and would once again have to watch the playoffs at home. Bill Russell felt he had done all he could with the team, and he stepped down as coach in the 1977 offseason. His assistant of 4 years, Bob Hopkins, was named as the new Sonic head coach. At the same time, Lenny Wilkins was named director of player personnel after spending the previous 2 years as head coach at Portland. A virtual unknown by the name of Jack Sikma was Seattle's #1 pick in the 1977 draft. That Sikma would later be dubbed the Banger was only due in part to his haircut. In October, free agent guard Gus Williams signed with the Sonics after spending his first 2 years at Golden State. Seattle entered the 1977-78 season with some new players and a new coach. Tom Burleson and Bobby Wilkerson were sent to Denver for Paul Silas, Marvin Webster, and Willie Wise. John Johnson was obtained from Houston, and Wally Walker came north for the 1977 NBA champion Portland Trail Blazers. It was a great blend of size and talent. But the Sonics just couldn't seem to get on track in the opening weeks of the season. With a 5-17 record late in November, Hopkins was fired, and the former Sonic coach was back at the helm. Lenny Wilkins quickly went to work by changing the entire starting lineup, and the effect on the play of the Sonics was incredible. The offense and the defense developed rapidly, and within 5 weeks, Seattle had hit the 500 mark. 8 weeks later, the Sonics locked up a playoff spot. Seattle faced the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round. Wilkins had his players hitting on all cylinders, and the Sonics sent Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to an early vacation in just 3 games. The Sonics faced the defending champion Portland Trail Blazers in the semifinals. Marvin Webster was a monster around the boards throughout the series, and Seattle eliminated the Blazers in 6 games. The Western Conference Finals featured the Denver Nuggets as the opponent, and Seattle continued to roll with everyone contributing, and Sonic fans were now in a frenzy. The Sonics downed the Nuggets in 6 games. Next stop, the NBA Finals. The amazing Seattle SuperSonics were the talk among sports fans everywhere, from a dismal start to the World Championship Series in 1 season and the home court advantage too. The Sonics were 1-3 against Coach Dick Motta's Bullets in the regular season, but now they had the momentum. Fred Brown topped the Sonics with 30 points, and Marvin Webster had 14 rebounds to give Seattle a 1-0 lead in the series. Landover, Maryland was the site for 2 games. Bullet fans were witnessing the first finals appearance by their team in 3 years, and their cheers were directed to the likes of Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes. The Sonics split their 2 games and returned to Seattle with a 2-1 lead in the series. The Kingdome was the site of Game 4 of the finals. An NBA record crowd of over 39,000 turned out to witness the first NBA game ever played in the still new concrete structure. The Kingdome really was like a neutral site for both teams, but listening to the fans, there was no mistaking whose home court it was. Wilkins and Motta had their players ready, and both teams put on a thriller from start to finish. The Bullets won in overtime, 120-116. Seattle split the next 2 games, and it all came down to Game 7 at the Coliseum. Both teams played one of the all-time classic games with one team answering another team's score. Washington got some big shots when down the stretch, and the Bullets captured an exhausting but well-deserved NBA championship. The Bullets and their fans could celebrate their wonderful accomplishment, and Sonic fans everywhere couldn't imagine a more exciting championship series. Wait till next year. Marvin Webster signed with New York in the offseason and was replaced by Tom Lagarde at center. But Lagarde suffered an injury that would sideline him for most of the 1978-79 season, and the center position was grabbed by Jack Sikma. Seattle compiled a team-best 52-30 record for the season, and Sonic fans turned out in record numbers to enjoy the excitement at the Sonics' new home, the Kingdome. Seattle met the Lakers once again in the first round of the playoffs. The Sonics held a 3-1 series lead going into Game 5 at their old Coliseum home.
10 seconds. The Sonics have the game won. Silence. 20-footer. No good. Pass and rebound. No time to put it up. Sonics win it. Eliminate the Lakers. Final score, Seattle 106 and Los Angeles 100.
The Phoenix Suns took the Sonics to Game 7 in a Kingdome showdown. Seattle had trailed the Suns 3-2 before winning the 6th game in Phoenix to tie the series. It was a heart-stopper right to the end.
Lead is at 2. Sigma 31 points. Shoots. He makes it. 113 to 110. Seattle leads by 3. Sigma shoots. He hits. 114 to 110. The Suns no timeout. And Dennis Johnson steals the inbound pass, throws the ball near the ceiling, and the Sonics win the Western Conference NBA Championship. The final score. Tonight's final score, the Seattle SuperSonics 114 and the Phoenix Suns 110.
Now there was something very familiar about the Sonics' next opponent. But by now Seattle was quite familiar with the Bullets' home court, and they split their first 2 games at Washington. Game number 4 at the Coliseum went into overtime, the sign of another typical Sonics-Bullets game. Some clutch shooting by DJ in the extra period gave Seattle a 114 to 112 win and a 3-1 lead heading back to Washington for game number 5. Lenny Wilkins and his players could afford to be confident, while Dick Motta and the Bullets had their backs to the wall. The site was Landover, Maryland, and the date was Friday, June 1st, 1979.
And so the Bullets have run off 4 straight points on the Sonics, and the fans here are standing and yelling. DJ out high, goes to Sigma. Ball knocked away from Sigma, out of bounds at the 2-minute mark, and the Sonics will have 10 seconds to bring it in and get a shot away. This is gut nervous time for the coaches and the fans. It comes into Gus Williams. Gus getting a fit, goes around it, out on top of the key. Gus shoots from 18, he hits! Gus Williams 19 points in the ball game. And now it's 90 to 85. The Sonics by 5. Down to a minute 50 to play. Is it a championship game for the Sonics? Here's Larry Wright. Feeds out to Hayes. Shoots from 17. Banks it off the board. No good. Crowded rebound. Back and under. Reverse layup is good by Ballard. And the Sonic lead is back to 3. 90 to 87. And what a great game this is that he's shown nationally on television. It's been kind of a tough, sloppy game at times, mainly because of the tough defense. Ball goes into Sigma. He got fouled. Pinched in between Unseld and Bobby Dandridge. The foul is against Dandridge. And Dandridge is out of the ball game. Dandridge for the 2nd straight game fouls up. Dandridge goes down with 21 points. He'll be replaced by Phil Chenier, Jack Sigma, who was responsible for the 2 free throws in the overtime that, with a winning margin in Tuesday's game, 114-112 over the Bullets, will go to the free throw line with 1 plus the penalty shot, a minute 29 left in the game. Perspiration dripping from his chin as he'll try to make the Sonics into a 4 or 5 point leader again. The crowd yelling, the cool Sigma shoots and misses. And the deafening roar of the Washington crowd here in the background as Sigma will get the penalty shot now. The Bullets are down by only 3. Sigma shoots. He hits. And the Bullets take a timeout. As the Bullets take a timeout, the Sonics have the lead in what they hope will be their first championship game ever. The Bullets are playing without Kevin Greavy, pulled Frymouth early in the ball game. They're playing without guard Tom Henderson, who injured an arch in the 3rd quarter. Bullets bring it in. Larry Wright, top of the key jumper. Good! And the Bullets trail by 2 points. It's 91 to 89 as Larry Wright, the hero of the first game of the series, with 26 points on that Sunday afternoon, brings the Bullets back to a 2-point deficit and a minute 17 left. Gus Williams brings it down. His voice can't be heard above the roar of the crowd. He drives right side, puts it up on the run. It's good. Gus Williams, and now the Bullets call for another timeout. The inbounds play comes to Larry White. White with the ball. White from the top of the key. Feeds to Unseld. He shoots from outside the fire. It's good. Wesley Unseld. And again, the Bullets trail by only 2 points, and the Bullets are going to put up backcourt pressure. 1:02 left in the ball game. 93-91. And what a great contest this one is. Win or lose, whoever wins this one, a fantastic ball game. Equally as great as the game on Tuesday night at the Kingdome that went into overtime. This one could too. Cuts around his man inside. This is out to DJ from 10. DJ fires. It's good. Dennis Johnson. DJ complaining he got hit on the back of the head as the Sonics lead by 4. 40 seconds to go. Larry White down court with Gus Williams reaching in, and he gets called for a reaching in foul. Well, believe it or not, Gus Williams has just been whistled for his first foul of the ball game. And Larry White, who with no pressure on him, or maybe some pressure, had 3 to make 2 here a week ago Sunday, now has all the pressure in the world on him as the Bullets trail by 4 points, 95-91. And Larry White will go to the line with 1 plus the penalty shot. Apparently there's a discussion or an argument about where the clock should stand. It shows 38 seconds left on the overhead clock over the arena here. Larry White will go to the free throw line. White has 12 points tonight. His first foul shot is good. White, incidentally, had made 19 in a row in the playoffs before he missed that one a week ago Sunday. Now the Bullets trail by 3. White with 13 points in this ball game. Here's White's next shot. It is good. 95-93. Sonics lead is again at 2 points, and what a fateful play this one is coming up. 35 seconds left in the ball game. If the Sonics fail to score this time, the Bullets could tie it up. Gus Williams with the ball out high. Feed over to Dennis Johnson. Looks for Sigma cutting across. Unseld gives Sigma push. Jack turns, starts to drive. Double team, backs away, feeds out to DJ. Foul line jumper, DJ. Off the rim, no good. Ball popped around. JJ with the ball. He started to shoot and they decided to run the clock. 14 seconds left and Phil Chenier fouls Gus Williams. As the Sonics nose in on what could be their first championship game ever. It's down to 12 seconds. It's 95-93. A missed shot by the Sonics, but John Johnson got the rebound. And then Gus Williams, dribbling in and out, got fouled by Phil Chenier, and now the pressure is all on Gus Williams. He shoots. He hits. And the Sonics lead by 3. And the Sonic bench is going wild. Assistant coach Les Habeger is just about to do his famous Phoenix version of the Habeger hop. 96-93 Sonics. This ball game is not over, but it's close. Gus shoots. He hits. 97-93 on the Bullets call for a timeout. 12 seconds to a championship for the Sonics. Jake O'Donnell is telling John Johnson to give Wesley Unseld room to operate on the inbounds pass. Fires in. Ballard, long one, top of the key. No good. Rebound, John Johnson. Sonics have it. 7 seconds. 6, 5, 4. Pass to Gus Williams. 3, 2, 1. And the SuperSonics win their first ever NBA championship. The ball sails high in the air. Les Habeger does the Habeger hop. The Sonics are ecstatic. The horns are honking around the Pacific Northwest. And I'm sure here's a big round of applause from the Washington Bullet fans for both ball clubs, mainly for the Washington Bullets, but for both teams. The last 2 games of this series, simply outstanding ball games. The final score is the Seattle SuperSonics win their first ever NBA championship, Seattle 97, and the Washington Bullets 93.